Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic or trying to have a good week this week. It's been kind of crazy, but a lot to talk about today. And we got Joe Castro from Philly the podcast. What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? What's up? I'm glad we're able to do this. Our schedules are, I feel like they made our schedules just so we can never talk. But no, I'm glad we finally found some time, man. I'm excited. A tough week, right? Tough week, but definitely excited to talk some Eagles and hopefully the good side of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, definitely got to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and what's to come this week. I think a very important week. Say hi to everybody in the chat. We got Flybirds Fly. What's going on, dude? Tuco. We got Logan Motorsports, DB Cooper, JD White, Breeding Kylie Green. We have Mark Holmes stuffs his chubby face. Yes, man.
That's awesome.
Robert Asandre. What's going on, guys? So yeah, a lot to go over. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy 6 weeks, and I think when we really get into everything, we go from what this we know that this team has been. We've had our complaints every single game, but we were winning, and we were just hoping it wasn't going to bite us in the end. We were going to get kind of screwed in some game like we were on Sunday against the Jets, and it just didn't go well. Joe, what's your? I mean, we don't have to go crazy far back, but what are your thoughts of at least through the week so far with this? What's been the biggest issue here on both sides of the ball, or what's your take on it?
Yeah, no, you said it perfectly, Matt. You said it perfectly. I think that we've been saying a win is a win for so long. And even before the Jets game, I was like, this is a game we got to dominate. We have to go out there and dominate because they had so many players down. The Jets defense is good. When they're at full health, they weren't even close to it. So it's like you wanted to go out there and dominate. Our defense did well. Our offense finally kind of, they died on the sword they've been living on. So it's been a tough week, but it's one of those things that I want to preface like this. It's one loss, right? We didn't think we were going to go 17-0. It would have been nice to, right? Every team would love that, but nobody really goes 17-0. It's very, very rare that ever happens. I think it happened once, in this era of football, but it wasn't something that I was looking at, but every loss does hurt, and it's the game inside the game. So losing to the Jets the way we did, it was worrisome. I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, Jalen Hurts looked terrible in that game. We can say as much as we want about BrianJohnson. Jalen Hurts is the one that threw those balls. So it was a little bit upsetting, but at the same time, I feel like we have the team, and we're lucky in Philadelphia that we have a team that is going to probably get pissed off by that, and they only have themselves to get mad at. So I think that we'll see them turn around. Are the Phillies really up 10-0 already? That's crazy. But no, I think that it's one of those things that we kind of needed to get smacked in the face. I'm going to be blunt with you. I think that a lot of Eagles fans, especially, were kind of just saying, and me included, I'm not putting this on anybody else, but a win is a win. Hey, we're winning ugly, but we're winning. And we needed to get smacked in the face and realize that we can't go out there every week and struggle. It's not going to, there's going to be teams that are going to be ready for us. Again, the Jets, it sucks that it was against the Jets, but one loss is not going to determine what we are. I truly don't believe that. I still believe that we're a Super Bowl contending team, but now they got to go out there and prove it. There's a lot of people doubting them, and especially our stars, right? Like, people are going to talk junk about Jalen Hurts. People are going to talk junk about our new player, Julio. They're going to talk junk about this whole team until we shut them up. So I'm glad that we're in this position, to be 100% honest with you. I'm glad that we're now on the other end of, a win is a win. We need to go out there and be the best team that we can, and hopefully we see that this week. I mean, if we don't, Joey, I don't know.
I'm fighting with more Eagles fans now after that loss. I mean, now it's like everything I say, it's very critical now. Like, this is what I got even from last year when, our offense was high powered last year, and our defense was, there was a lot of games we only won by, we would have won by a couple, few touchdowns, but because of that defense last year, I mean, they were giving offenses too much life, man. You put your foot on somebody's neck, you keep it there, you don't take it off, and that's what. Everyone was telling me to relax. We're winning. And then the most important game of the season last year, and that's what happened. So this year, I've been very critical of this defense, and I've been very critical of this offense, of the signs that are showing. I didn't go into this Jets game thinking it was going to be easy. I didn't think it was going to be easy. I thought, do not overstep this team, because it's only going to take one game. And I mean, it might have to, take a loss, to reflect. And, the players had that little meeting after the game, without the head coach. I think that's a big thing, how is this team going to respond against, Miami? And it's a week-to-week league. I mean, that's what it is, because you look at Miami, even like, you beat Denver by, you score 70 points on Denver. Then they get killed by the Bills. And then, even against the Giants, they scored 30 points, over 30 points, but they still they didn't look great. Like they didn't look great. I thought the Giants ran the ball on them well. So I don't feel like anybody's untouchable right now.
Yeah.
And the Eagles haven't, really before the Jets game, I think they were like 5th in points. We haven't really unveiled what this offense can do. I know there's a lot of issues with substitutions, targets, certain players not really being involved. And, we came into this season with with 2 new coordinators, and to be 5-1 right now with 2 new coordinators going to the season off a Super Bowl, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff has to get fixed.
And it's funny that you bring up the new coordinators and you bring up last year, because last year, if you really if you look at what it was the defensive coordinator that was it felt like gun shy at points. It felt like he was just scared to really do what he was supposed to do. But when you look at this year, it feels like the offensive coordinator is a little gun shy. It feels like maybe that's Nick's fault. Maybe that's, BrianJohnson just doesn't know what he's doing. I really don't know. It feels, and I don't know, because obviously I'm not in those rooms, but it feels like Nick Sirianni saying, no, don't do that, do this. Like, no, don't really be you, do this. You know what I'm saying? So if that's the case, then we kind of got to let BrianJohnson go, because not let him go as far as like fire him, but like let him loose, like let him do what he wants to do, because that's the only way we're going to have a fair criticism about him. If he's still running what Nick Sirianni wants him to do, I can't really put the onus on BrianJohnson. I feel like BrianJohnson, we saw this game, right? We saw this game against the Jets, even though it was a loss, especially early on. You saw a lot of pre-snap motion. You saw a lot of like different things, a lot of stuff that we were kind of asking for, right? To see DeAndre Swift utilized as a receiver. We saw all that. And then once the game got a little bit close, there was like 1 or 2 mistakes. I feel like somebody stepped in and was like, no, we're going to change up everything we're doing. And we went right back to what we used to do. So I don't know. It's a little bit annoying, to be honest with you, but I will say the offense is probably the last thing I'm worried about, just because I feel like once Lane comes back, which it looks like he's at least pushing to go play this Sunday, we'll see what happens. But once Lane comes back, I feel like you got the dogs out there to be able to do whatever you got to do. The defense is realistically where I was nervous. I was like, how are we losing all these players, but we're still performing? So I know it's Zach Wilson, but I don't know. The offense really just frustrates me. That's really where I'm at right now. And I don't know if it's BrianJohnson. I don't know if it's Nick Sirianni handcuffing BrianJohnson, because you watch BrianJohnson at and I'm just going to say Brian, because saying his full name feels weird. Like doing it 10 times in a row. But, you watch him in Florida, bro. He was creative as hell. He was mad creative. And I just don't know where that went. If it's being handcuffed, if it's him being nervous, him wanting to simplify things for Jay, I really don't know. And hopefully we figure that out this year. This week. That's really what I'm hoping.
Let me read these 2 super chats quick, and I'll talk about the offense real quick. So Professor Chaos with the super chat says, I'm going to reserve my anger for after Sunday night only if we lose. But hey, Eagles legend Julio Jones. We'll get to Julio Jones. We'll get to it. We're going to be talking about Julio Jones. We'll talk about, obviously, trade rumors. Joe is an inside guy, too. So we'll see. We'll pick his brain a little bit and see what happens there. Professor Chaos with another super chat says, BrianJohnson printed out some Madden 24 plays and used that as his play sheet against the Jets. I think, look, offensively, and I think you're, 100% I agree. Okay. I think part of it, too, is I feel like I never see Sirianni reprimand him on the sideline or even talk to him on the side. It's the signs are kind of pointing, but really since the first game of the season, like against the Patriots, like even when the bad weather was going on, and I felt like after the bad weather kind of was moving out of the way, in the middle of the game, the Patriots started slinging the ball. Mac Jones started slinging the ball. The Eagles have the issue with the Eagles offense has been not making those adjustments. They have not made adjustments, not involving your wide receiver threes, not involving your tight end. Why is Dallas Goedert taking this long to be involved in your offense? Why? I mean, we know this running back situation. Why is Rashad Penny even here? What is his purpose? Why is Swift being taken out in red zone? Why is Gainwell more valued on third down? Why is that? I don't get it. I feel like when Gainwell is in the game, I feel like the offense is in a slump. I feel like with Swift, it gives the offense a lot more juice. I feel like there's a lot more with him. I mean, we knew when we traded for him the third day of the draft, which we didn't really expect. Okay, we knew what we were getting with him. If the guy stays healthy, he's going to do damage. And I really, the thing I like about what they've been doing with the running backs the past, few weeks, I know it's been a slow process. They've been trying to get Swift in that passing game. They've been doing, and I think this was the game where they really started throwing to him a lot. He had his first receiving touchdown of the year. So, I mean, with BrianJohnson, even at his press conference today, it's just like we have the run pass ratio. But I mean, 45 passes, dude. It's just,
not what you want to see.
You're not running the ball, man. Like I don't get it.
Especially a Jets team that was not that great in stopping the run. I mean, obviously they had some guys down in the secondary and you want to attack that, but you also want to be who you are, right? You want to be who you are. And I will say because I ask this question to myself every damn day, but why is Kenny Gainwell out there so much? But it really just comes down to pass blocking. Like DeAndre Swift can't pass block for shit. I'm sorry. No offense to him, though. I love him. He's an amazing running back, amazing in the receiving game, but he just can't pass block. His pass protection is bad. And it's sad that Kenny Gainwell is our best option. But it does bring up the question, then why not use Penny? Why not use somebody else? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me week one when you had DeAndre Swift basically a healthy scratch. He only had 2 or 3 snaps in that game. And then he comes out to be the clear-cut best running back in that group. So it's like, what are you seeing in practice or in the offseason that is making you kind of poo-poo on these players? Like, it took people to literally say, what the hell is going on with Dallas Goedert for Dallas Goedert to get involved. So it really doesn't make much sense. I know there's a lot of mouths to feed, and we just added another one. But Jalen Hurts is a guy that can definitely get the ball to everybody. I really don't. I don't think that he's regressed. I won't say that. I don't think that he's, getting exposed. I don't think anything like that. I think that the play calling is very stagnant. And when you do that, it's very easy for defenses to understand what you're trying to do. So, they got to figure something out. They got to be a little bit different or just rely on that run game. Be that team that puts a round peg in a square hole until it fits, because we have the guys to do that. We have the offensive line. We have the running backs. Just do it. If you realistically can't come up with something creative enough on the offense as far as passing game goes, then work your passing game off of the running game. I feel like they're trying to work their running game off the passing game, and it's just, to me, ass backwards, to be 100%.
No, I agree. Kenny with the super chat. Thank you so much. He says, saw one motion play and Scott went for 16. Needs so much more. More hurry up, no huddle, more up tempo, maybe a shuffle pass, just more creativity. Yeah, I mean, that little motion pass they did to Boston Scott was like, I saw that play. I was like, holy crap, never seen anything that creative in this offense. So that was that was really the first time. But it's really getting Jalen Hurts into a rhythm. How are they supposed to do a fast-paced offense? How are they supposed to, I mean, they can't get him into a rhythm. I think that's the biggest problem here. There's obviously no, I think part of it, and I know I backtrack a little bit. I think part of it going into the season, number one, your first week was a short week, which really sucked. I mean, that's the worst week to have a short week because you barely have tape on anybody. You just have to wing it at that point. I think the offseason program is a big problem. It worked last year. It didn't work this year. I feel like these players didn't have enough time to gel with a new coordinator. I honestly didn't have, I think I was on board with you. I was worried about more of the defense than the offense. At least with Desai, we're getting adjustments. The only thing everything's fixable. I mean, really what we're talking about here is, why are we playing so off the ball? I mean, I literally sat last week and just looked up highlights of every NFL game and I watched to see what teams play off the ball that much. Even the Washington game in overtime, the last play when Devontae Smith caught the ball to get Jake Elliott in field goal range, they played off the ball, and all the Commanders fans were complaining about that one play that were playing off the ball. I was like, try playing that the whole entire game.
The
whole entire game. All right.
You know, I think it comes down to I love Darius Slay. I love James Bradbury, but what they do is what they do. And you know, at the adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like they aren't really made for this new NFL. Like when they were coming up, and I'm not saying they're trash by any means, but when they were coming up, it was a bunch of big guys, right? You had the Calvin Johnsons, you had the Mike Evans type players, you had a bunch of big guys. Like that's what the wide receivers were. Now you got a bunch of, you know, decent size, but mostly 6'1", 6 foot, maybe 5'10", some of them, and they're just shifty and fast as hell. And that's just not what they're really good at covering. You know, James Bradbury never really had to do that. So it's tough. It really is tough. I think that's why they do it. But I agree, it sucks to watch, especially when other offenses are learning to just take advantage of that. But I do think having Nakobe Dean back kind of helps that. And the main reason is because I think Nicholas Morrow is decent at pass coverage. I'm not going to say he's the best, but he's pretty good in comparison, especially to Zach Cunningham. So having two linebackers that are at least competent in the pass game will probably help you with those, you know, quick throws. And now it looks like the defensive line is kind of getting into their groove. So all that kind of does help the secondary. But, you know, and then safety. I think a lot of people aren't really talking about Justin Evans. And I'll say it again. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying he's
solid.
You know, he is. He's very solid, and he knows what he's supposed to do. You know, hint Terrell Edmonds. Like, he knows where he's supposed to be. He doesn't get caught out of position too much. So, you know, that's huge, man. I mean, the injuries we've had are not small injuries. I mean, they're just not. You lost every single safety except for Terrell Edmonds for at least one game. You know, you lost both starting safeties. I mean, cornerbacks, all starting cornerbacks realistically for at least one game, and one of them now on IR. So it's like you're getting hit hard, you know, and we've been able to stay afloat. And one thing I will say, I think that this team might have kind of started smelling themselves a little bit with this whole like, oh, we'll figure it out. You know, like we've been in this situation, we'll figure it out. And I think that's kind of why Jalen Hurts shied away from saying we've been here before, because it feels like that's what they kind of went into games like with that mindset that, hey, stuff's going to happen, we're going to figure it out. And you can't go into a game like that. You can't. You have to go into every game and be like, this is the game plan. If that don't work, this is what we're going to do. You know, like you got to be ready. And I just don't feel like they've been ready.
Yeah, and I think it might just take a loss to really get everybody, you know, maybe it gets the coaching staff on task, it gets the players, you know, like, well, we can't screw around like this anymore. The injuries are bad. I mean, you know, it really started with, you know, you kept 7 DBs this year. I mean, you kept 7 cornerbacks this year, which we didn't expect to keep that much. And with Zach McPherson going down, Maddox being hurt twice, now season ending, I think that's just been, I don't see them holding on to him next year. I mean, he's got like a $10 million cap hit. I just don't see, he's a liability, and hence why they had Bradbury move. I know they were flirting with Bradbury moving to the inside when we had Job on the outside. I was tired of that. I don't think Job is really much. I don't know. I think Eli Ricks might have a bigger chance in the league. Like maybe.
Job. I do like Eli.
Yeah,
I'll agree with the second part of that statement, but I do like Job. I do like Job. I do think Eli Ricks will be better, but I do like Job.
It could be scheme. I mean, it could be the way that Desai has where these players are lined up. Because really, I don't get it. You pay cornerbacks to cover, and you're not doing that. Like I see Bradbury staring in the face, press coverage, and then like as soon as the receiver moves like 3 yards off the line, he's running backwards, like I'm just like, what is this? Like, I don't even know what this is. It's tough to generate a pass rush that way because the coverage from cornerbacks and the pass rush is hand in hand. It coordinates with each other really well. I mean, what do you think of the defensive line so far this year? Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, just everything defensive line has done.
That D-line is real. That D-line is nasty. I mean, Jalen Carter is everything we thought he would be and more. Like, I'm so happy that, you know, there's been a million drafts that I haven't been able to go to, but to be able to go to the draft that Jalen Carter got drafted, that's going to be something I remember because, man, that boy is something different. I really do feel like we might have a Hall of Famer on our team. And I'm not saying that, I don't say that about anybody, but I really do feel he could be that guy. Jordan Davis has taken a huge step year two, not only as a run stopper, which we really drafted him to be, but as a pass rusher, he's looked really, really good. Brandon Graham still has life in him. Fletcher Cox still looks really good. One thing I will, to make a complaint, I'm not sure why Fletcher Cox is playing so much snaps. That's the one, and realistically, a lot of these veterans, you have enough guys that everybody can run, 33% each, and you're still having a very, very good defensive line. I'd rather do that. So it is what it is. It's working, I guess. So, I'm not going to get too mad about it, but Carter is just ridiculous. And I hope that what he did, not obviously this last game that he was playing, I hope that gives him more snaps. I think he deserves it. I think he should be that starter. I love Fletcher Cox. He's one of the best, Eagles players to ever put on the uniform, but it might be time for Carter to do his thing. And it really comes down to me. It comes down to safety. You got to go out there and get yourself actual safety. I love Reed Blankenship, but you need somebody that can play at the top and play in the box. You need that, because it's hurt people like Josh Jobe. It's hurt people like Eli Ricks.
I agree.
It's really hurt these young cornerbacks, and it's hurt people like Darius Slay and Bradbury, because they can't really go up on these guys. They can't really play man coverage or man press, because you lose one step and it's over. You don't really trust, outside of Reed Blankenship, you don't really trust any of these safeties to make big time plays. So it's really, really tough. But I think this defensive line, these linebackers, our front seven is way better than I thought it was going to be. And I knew our front four would be really good, but it has been fun to watch. And they're a big reason why we've won most of those games that we were like, hey, it is what it is. We found a way. Outside of the Washington game, they kind of carried us, to be real with you. So at some point, it's all going to mix. And that's the thing I'm hoping. I'm keep telling myself, but I do believe it. Like, I think at some point, everything's going to kind of mesh. You're going to see what the Eagles really are. And, then we'll be the team that everybody fears again. But right now, it's just, I don't know. It feels like one side of the ball is prepared, the other isn't. We just got to figure it out. Special teams has been very good. They've been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I mean, Hassan Reddick is 5.5 sacks. I mean, since the cast has been off, 5.5 sacks. It's just amazing. Jalen Carter has just become one of those players where, it's really tough because it's so early, and it's like the man makes such a difference. We're still productive. We were still productive without him. We were getting pressure at times, but man, when he's in, it's like it's so generational where he's going to become one of those players where if he's not playing, you're going to see the difference. It's a huge difference. The guy is just always being disruptive in the backfield. And I think with Jordan Davis, I didn't expect him really to be a pass rusher or to be that much of that. And he really has showed up. I mean, just crazy this year. And, I think the defensive line's doing great. I mean, it's just, just got to generate that pass rush when there's good coverage. And, when you don't have that, it's easy for these quarterbacks to throw these short passes on you. The Derek Barnett situation now, I don't know why Nolan Smith isn't playing. I don't get it. I mean, 2 tackles for Derek Barnett. He just got his second tackle last game. I mean, I don't know. Are they doing him a favor? He wanted a trade. He tried to trade out of Philly. Maybe he wanted more of a starting role. He doesn't like the rotation anymore. I have no idea, but Nolan Smith's a first round pick. I mean, I give first round picks 2 years at least at least their second year to see what they could do. But I don't think he's getting much of an opportunity. I mean, he's like top of, I think it's like percentage pass rush rate or win percentage rate in pressure. I think it's, Nolan Smith's on the top of the list right now. And just, I think he's getting like 7 snaps. I mean, not even that. I mean, it's not even much. I don't know what you think of the Derek Barnett situation. Why? I mean, he's just,
I defended him all offseason. I was like, listen, I wasn't sitting here saying we have to keep him. He's a guy we have to keep. But, I was saying he's a productive player. Usually, like the past couple of seasons, he was productive. He was just injured a lot, made a lot of dumb mistakes. But he was productive. He wasn't, top end type of defensive lineman, but he was productive. This year, it's time for us to, we tried it. We gave him a bunch of opportunities. It's time to see what Nolan Smith has. And I will say, I think they're trying to make Nolan a little bit more than what they ever really wanted from Derek Barnett as far as being a guy that could put his hand in the dirt, but also being a guy that could be your stand-up linebacker, be a guy that rushes off the edge as a linebacker, being the guy that can kind of drop back in coverage if you really need him to. So I think these first couple of weeks we're just kind of trying to get his feet wet slowly. But now it's kind of time to get those kid gloves off and really go all in with him. I mean, we'll see what happens. I know in the preseason, he did kind of get knocked off a couple times. There were some reps that it was like, all right, maybe this kid needs to get a little stronger. But you have that speed. You got to utilize it. See what he can do. Let him fail in a real game, and we'll see what happens from there. Because if you don't see what you have now, realistically, if you don't give him 20 snaps in a game or 15, 30, whatever you really feel is good enough to get a good sample size of him in a full game, what are you going to do in the playoffs? What if something does, God forbid, happen to one of these defensive linemen or a couple, and you don't know what to do? You know what I'm saying? Can he take that role? So I think right now is the best time to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, Derek Barnett, he's been given so many chances, so many opportunities, especially with us. He's not Reggie White. I think we all know that, right? That was like the big thing when he came out of college. Oh, he has more sacks than Reggie White. Yeah, he did this more than he's not that guy. So it's time to move on. Whether that is a cut, whether that's packaging him in a trade, whatever that may be, or whether that's just flat out benching him, whatever that is, it needs to happen because he hasn't done anything. I will say he hasn't given up any,
he has been a knucklehead all year.
Yeah,
right.
So I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, bro, it's like we have a Super Bowl defensive line. Whatever you want to say about the rest of the defense, we definitely have a Super Bowl defensive line. So if you're not going to be part of that, then either get right or get out. That's how it got to be at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think to really complete that D line, I just think you just need a little bit of a switch right there, and I feel like I was interested in a lot of free agents. I mean, I want Barnett gone before the season started. I mean, when Leonard Floyd and Yannick Ngakoue and Frank Clark and a bunch of defensive ends were available, Jadeveon Clown, there was a lot of guys available, and I don't know, the Eagles just never bid on it, I guess. I don't know. If they're not going to play Nolan Smith, I'd rather have Derek Barnett out and getting a free agent. I mean, that's what I was kind of, into at that time, but it is what it is. I mean, I said, as long as he's like somewhat disruptive, I don't care. I mean, Mekhi Becton was just throwing him around like he was a rag doll on Sunday. I mean,
give Milton those snaps. I wouldn't mind seeing him. Yeah. Milton's been playing on the edge sometimes too. I wouldn't mind seeing him on the edge a little bit more. I'm cool with that.
So we'll go into so today. So I mean, they worked out a receiver this morning, and then I forget
his name.
Marquez Callaway.
Yeah, Callaway.
So I was like, okay, so I didn't know what was going on with that. And the Eagles signed Julio Jones, 1-year deal. I know he's 34. I understand he's been on 4 teams in 4 years. He's coming in strictly as the number 4. Okay. He's going to share some playing time. He's on the practice squad right now. They're going to sign him later this week. What do you take out of them even going after a receiver right now?
With Quez injured, I will say that it probably doesn't look good for Olamide. I'm not really sure why they don't like him at all, it feels like. But, A.J. Brown made a big deal about him coming to Tennessee. I wouldn't be surprised if he, went up to the GM and was like, listen, I know we just lost Quez. Why don't you go get my dog? So there's probably that. He did play with Olamide as well for, I think, like a year. It doesn't really move the radar for me. To me, it's like at the best, he's a wide receiver 4 for us. Right, he might not even really do anything for us. And you can make the argument that we're trying to figure out how to consistently get the guys that are in the offense right now the ball, right? So it's like, it's a cool signing. Like 5 years ago, I would be jumping off a roof right now, happy. But I mean, it doesn't mean much to me. Like, he's not washed. He can still go out there and give you some quality plays. Like, he's not one of those guys, again, that you're going to be asking him to be your wide receiver 1. So he'll probably be what Quez was. And, realistically, I was saying last week, like, Quez gets I think he has 8 targets or something like that this whole year. So it's not a big like needle mover for me. I think it's cool. I think that it'll help having another little veteran presence because that offense is pretty young when it comes to the skill position. So I think having that veteran presence will be nice. But again, I don't think that it's huge. I think people are kind of overblowing it, to be 100% honest.
It's weird for me because I feel like this is more, it's a lot bigger than it is because like, does Julio want to go to a roster and be a backup and not play? Like, is he willing to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but just think about it. Like, Julio's close to retiring sooner or later. Like, you know, it's going to happen. And is this, you know, to kind of say a goodbye to the league, to kind of is this going to be his ending, you know, coming to a team that's loaded on this offense? You know, obviously with BrianJohnson, we've talked about it a million times, you know, the guy was served a top three offense on a silver platter. Yeah. Okay. Literally, like, here it is. Do what you want with it, make it successful. And I think with Julio Jones, like, I like, people are not like, it's hard to get excited about this because you can't even, like, people are saying it was, you know, we're going to use Julio for red zone. He's not a deep threat anymore. I mean, I don't know if he's a deep threat anymore. I mean, I don't know what you think, if he's still a deep threat or not. Maybe he's just more of an intermediate type guy. He's just on the, you know, maybe just for short yardage or maybe for red zone. You know, you have Dallas Goedert, you have AJ Brown, like, you have other, you know, you can't even get your other pieces involved, and you're signing a veteran wide receiver, which I think is a lot more serious now. I think, and I'm not saying, like you said, like, are they phasing Zacchaeus out? I don't know, because this is too much attention for Julio Jones to sign here on a 1-year deal for him to just take the backup role and sit on the bench all year. I highly doubt it, but maybe they split reps. I don't know. I feel like they are getting, and this was this is what, Tuesday. It's an early signing, so he has a few days to, get the mentality of the offense, kind of get used to what's going on, and then, sign to the active roster later in the week, and probably will play Sunday, most likely. How much opportunity he's going to get, I don't know, but like I said, the offense has got to, it's got to make adjustments, but like, I'm excited about it. Like, I like it. You know what I mean? As a number 4, I can't really complain about it at all. So he's not our number 1. He's not our number 2 fans. I mean, literally Twitter was just like, he's washed. He's washed. He's washed.
Yeah,
he's washed. I mean,
like, I get it. He's old, but damn.
Jalen Hurts needs more wide receiver. Like,
I mean, I think best case scenario for him, I think, like, the only thing that I can really think of is maybe you say, let's move Devontae to the slot and we have our 2 big guys on the outside. If you have that much faith in, what Julio Jones is at 34. And I don't think he's washed, but I don't think that giving him a major role in this offense is the smart thing. I don't think that, playing 3 wide receiver sets is what this offense needs more of, if I'm being honest. If anything, maybe you bring out another tight end. Jack Stoll is a great blocker. Maybe that's what you need to do, and just really, like I said, run the ball down these guys' throats. That's what you can do on a night in, night out basis.
Yeah, and Anime Black Lives says, I think Quez injury might be more serious than we think. Is this? Do you think this is it serious? Is this hamstring actually that serious, or do you think he could be a trade chip? Could he be, like, what if he comes back in a few weeks? Like, that's going to be the thing, because Devin Allen, we knew that Devin Allen wasn't going to be the 4. Britton Covey staying at the 5. They're not moving him up. He's the punt returner, and that's all he's going to be this year. Yeah. So when Quez comes back. And it's really unfortunate, because even in the Rams game, I think Hurts missed him 2 times. Okay, people kill me for that. Dude, quarterback makes mistakes. I get it, but I felt like Devontae Smith got pissed off in that game, and then they force fed him in the end zone, and Quez is in the back of the end zone wide open. I feel like when some of these players, when Nick Sirianni sees that there is a player that's not statistically doing well, they force feed them the ball. Yeah. I thought they did that a couple times to AJ Brown. I think it was the Tampa game to AJ Brown. Yep. A couple times. And then Devontae Smith. It's you have 2 number 1 receivers. In my opinion, you have 2 guys that are just too good. And you can only get the ball to so many guys. So I just think there's just a major issue right now in just distribution, and maybe it's route concepts, maybe it's route combinations, getting certain guys open. I mean, they don't even do screen passes with DeAndre Swift. I mean, it's like tight end screen, tight end screen, tight end screen. It's just ridiculous at this point.
I think with Quez, honestly, I think that it might be, wraps for him after this season, but I do think that he's probably getting shopped. I wouldn't be surprised, because
it's not.
It just doesn't really make sense, because I don't think that the hamstring injury is as bad as they're making it out to be. I think that there might be some like, hey, you're probably going to miss a game or two, so let's just put you on IR and see if we can't get you somewhere else. That's what I feel like.
I feel the same way, and I think he has a little bit of value. I don't think he's dead in the water like other guys like Derek Barnett. I don't think he has value at all. I mean, that's what are you going to get? So I think with Quez, I think there's a good opportunity here if you want to shop him, because I wouldn't, it wouldn't surprise me if they just get another draft pick. They got 10 draft picks I think next year. This is without compensatory compensation. I mean, 2 second-round picks next year. So I mean, they're loaded with picks. And the more ammo that Howie has in the draft, that you could use it on a million other things. So I think Quez could be, it could. I mean, people were speculating that, like, or they just had just no time. Like, you're getting to the hard part of your schedule now. So it's like, we can't wait until a player comes back. And then when he comes back, he hasn't played in a while. So you have to get him acclimated and, so it's just, we have to get things rolling here. So I guess, it could have been AJ Brown going to Howie and say, hey, look, let's get Julio in here. And I promise you it's going to be a good signing, and, whatever. So we'll see what happens. That's that.
Yeah. I hope it works. I hope whatever they got figured out, I hope it works.
The last thing I'm thinking about is a wide receiver right now. It's the least thing we should be talking about here. Anywhere it should be the last thing we're talking about. We got 312 people in the chat now. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, like the stream if you guys have it, and subscribe to Joe Castro, Philly the podcast. His link is in the description below. He just hit over 6,000 subscribers. And congratulations on that, dude.
I appreciate that.
And covers everything, and it's been going. You're gonna be going to the draft every year now, right? Are you trying to do this every year?
As long as everything works out. I should be going to the draft this year, the combine again this year. I'm hoping by next year I'll be able to get into the camp and stuff. The Eagles are very, very, very tight fisted when it comes to credentials, going to the camp and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll definitely be at least at the draft and everything again.
Yeah, it's great. It's great cover. I mean, a lot of my news, dude, I'm telling you, a lot of my news from combine, the draft, a lot of it came from you, because I wouldn't even see the name. I would just read it and I'm like, oh shit, it's Joe. And then a lot of people are crediting you. A lot of people are crediting your stuff, and it's a great thing.
I appreciate it. Yeah, and now it allows me to kind of have some people that I talk to still from the combine, from the draft, that are able to kind of help me out when it comes to things that may be going on with the Eagles. So it's always a good day. Always a good thing.
And then really getting into, we saw the news the other day, this morning, I think it was yesterday or this morning, that Howie Roseman has been working the phone since Monday morning, to try to pry somebody off a roster for secondary help. What have you heard so far? What's the word on what's going on?
From what I hear, obviously nothing is 100%, right? Nothing is in the world is 100%, but the people that I talked to have had a good track record for me, so I'm happy about that. But from what I've heard, it feels like they were going after Simmons. They were going after Chen. Feels like Simmons may have been a little bit out of their price range as far as what they wanted to give up, and they've kind of switched focus to Chen. Again, that doesn't mean that they'll get him, but also what I've heard is that the what they are asking for from Chen, I'm trying to make sure I word it right, because people will clip it and be like, well, you should, but from what I'm hearing, that Chen is also, the price tag for him is not as backbreaking as it would have been for a Simmons. So, maybe a mid-round pick and a player, something like that. But I have heard that he's very, very aggressive. That's the word that I kept hearing, that he's being aggressive. He wants to get a fix in that secondary, and that it might happen soon. I do think that there's going to be something that happens pretty soon in that secondary, whether it be Chen or whether it be a safety. None of us are really thinking about, because there is other teams out there. But I hope to God that it's Chin. And like I said, I was told that it was probably a mid-round pick. So we're looking at like something anywhere from the 3rd to the 5th round, something like that, and then a player. And we'll see who that is. We'll see who that is. But we'll see. I think that's why you kind of have guys like Derek Barnett, Quez Watkins. You got some of these young guys that it's like, what is their value? Maybe a change of scenery will help them. And, maybe one of those guys is the guy that you go in. But, Chin's price tag isn't crazy. Obviously, he's going to be a free agent after this year, and they've used him less than they've ever done. Like, I think that he's at like almost like 60% of the snaps, and he's never had less than 90%. So
Jesus,
it feels like they want to get rid of him. And I think the Eagles would be knocking down that door to be the team that gets him. And one thing with Chin, I think a lot of people don't realize is that he can play at every level. He can literally play at every level. So, that's really a huge addition if we're able to get someone like him or him. So I think safety's a spot, man. I really do. I would love, and this might sound like a crazy thing to say, I would love for them to go heavy at some of these cornerbacks that maybe not be in favor with some of their teams right now. And there's a couple. We saw JC Jackson get traded, but Patrick Surtain, I know they call him a building block. I would throw the farm at that man. I am not going to lie to you. I really don't care if we don't pick in the first round next year. I'm that deep into this kid. If you can go out there and get a young, probably the best, he's one of the best cornerbacks in the game already, in my opinion. And it doesn't have to be Patrick Surtain, but that's the first guy that kind of pops in my head. But if there's a guy out there, do it. There makes no sense to not be aggressive right now. You brought up the 10 draft picks. We brought up some of these players that may be falling out of favor with the Eagles that might have value somewhere else. Do it. I will be cool if we have 6 draft picks next year. I am okay with that. I am totally okay with that. And if we got to give up a first, I'm okay with that. Go get the players that not only give you a better chance to win a Super Bowl now, but maybe you're filling in some holes in the future, because Bradbury's not going to be here forever. Slay's not going to be here forever. We talked about Avonte Maddox. Go fill those spots up. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's better, go do it.
Yeah, I mean, if they took a shot at Surtain, I wouldn't complain. It's tough. I mean, you gotta really take advantage of like the bad teams that are desperate. I mean, really, the Panthers don't have a first round pick next year. Mm-hmm. Okay, Denver is just, apparently it's like a flea market on that defense. Like, they have a price tag on everything. You're walking and you're just like, how much is this? Like, that's what it is. That's what's going on. That was the rumor. I don't know if it's actually true, but I would say that they're going to start. I mean, they're already tanking as it is, and I feel like they're going to try to get some assets. And they lost a lot of picks for trading Russell Wilson, so they're trying to get some assets back, draft compensation wise. And it's really tough for me to get a Patrick Surtain. Like, I would do it. It's just because, like, if we needed a corner that badly, but we're talking about the future here, and Howie always thinks ahead. On top of making moves now, he always thinks ahead, and that's why, when people try to copy him, when other GMs try to copy him, it just never works that way. Before the draft, okay, we went into a situation where we're like, man, we're not going to replace Javon Hargrave. Like, Javon Hargrave was the biggest loss, 11 sacks for the season. How are you going to replace that? Well, I mean, we're not worrying about that anymore. The biggest loss of the offseason was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Easily, yeah.
You don't have that hybrid guy. I mean, I don't know who they cross-trained to be a hybrid guy. Like, to have a guy that plays safety and corner is so valuable. That's why Jeremy Chin, for me, I think is the number one target, because it's just, they really need it. And I heard that they were cross-training Sidney Brown a little bit. I don't know if they were. I mean, I heard during practice, a couple weeks ago. I don't know if it was true or not, but they need to start cross-training guys at multiple positions, because, I feel like, Maddox was a liability. And, I don't know what you think going into, obviously the cornerbacks. I mean, you're going to have to do a hard reset with these cornerbacks. I mean,
I like Eli. I love Eli. I think Eli can be somebody. I think that Josh Jobe, given a couple years, he can be somebody. I really don't have too much faith in Kaylee. I'm going to be 100%
It's,
honest.
it's really tough because really, like, Eli Ricks was like my underdog of like the offseason to make the team because what he did in the preseason games.
Yeah.
And I know the teams, like, I know Nick has more value in the joint practices, but the problem is, what can't you do at these joint practices? You can't hit the quarterbacks. You can't really go 100% to a certain extent. You can't, you know, I mean, you're not trying to, you know, it's not a game. Nick, he treats it like it's an actual football game. It's really not. What Eli Ricks did to the Ravens, you know, with a couple deflections, had the pick six, and you know, facing, you know, Alec Pierce. I mean, even you know, a couple of the starting receivers for the Colts. I mean, it was just, man, it was great just to see that, like, someone kind of rise above like that. You know,
he's a dog. And I've said all offseason, I think me and you talked about it. I said all offseason, everybody was all on Kaylee Ringo. I want Kaylee. I was trying to tell people, do not get hyped up on Kaylee Ringo. He's not that guy. He's not even the top 5 in this draft. And, you know, people thought I was crazy, but Eli Ricks was one of those guys that I was like, bro, I thought he was going to be a first rounder. I'm not going to lie. I thought he would be a late first, maybe early second rounder. For him to not go drafted is insane.
Did he drop because of injuries or just how the board fell?
Honestly, I don't know. Like, I didn't even realize, like, when I was out there, I didn't realize that he was dropping, to be real with you. Like, I was like, wait, hold up. It was like day 3, and I was like, hold up. Is Eli Ricks really not drafted right now? Like, I think it maybe is the size. Maybe it's, you know, maybe he was battling some type of injury, but he's a dog. Eli Ricks is a dog. Like, I can't turn on the tape and be like, oh, he's all right. Like, no, he was a dog. And it was honestly the exact opposite from what I saw from Kaylee. It was like, I saw Kaylee and I was like, I mean, this guy is, he's all right, I guess. But he has, like, he's that guy that he's like, all right, down the line, he might be really, really good because he has all those, you know, intangibles. He has the size, the speed, all that good stuff. But Eli Ricks had it all right now. Eli Ricks is big enough. He's maybe put on a little couple pounds, maybe put on some muscle, but he's quick enough. He's, you know, he had everything. I really don't know why he dropped. Josh Jobe, I liked him coming out of college the year before out of, I believe, Alabama. He was a guy that I continuously talked about in the late, you know, day 3. I looked at him as like a 6th, 7th round pick. So I wasn't too surprised that he didn't get drafted, but I did think that he had talent. And the one thing with Josh Jobe that I always said, and the reason why I felt like he was going to drop so far in that draft, which obviously he did, he went undrafted, but was he never really put a season together. Like, he every year going into a season, it was like Josh Jobe is finally going to break out. He has the technique, he has everything, he's good, you know, and then he just was so inconsistent every year. So it was like, you know, I'm hoping that with, you know, NFL coaching staffs, NFL training staffs, maybe that kind of works itself out. But, you know, Josh Jobe has just always been really inconsistent to me, but he's good. He does have the technique. He has the skill set. It's just about putting 17 games together, in my opinion, for him. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I really do like the future, of what we have. I don't know what Mario Goodrich is going to be. Again, Kaylee Ringo, I'm not going to sit here and say he's absolutely garbage. I know I kind of just bashed him, but he's a guy that maybe you put him at safety, maybe you put him at linebacker in a year or two if you can't figure it out, but you got to try different things with him. I really don't feel cornerback is that spot. He has the speed to stay with the guys. He has the hips to move and fluidness to move with guys in the slot and stuff like that. It's just, it doesn't click for him. His ball tracking skills is just non-existent. I'm sorry. They're just non-existent in my opinion. And he has good technique, but not good enough. So I just don't think that the cornerback spot is a place for him. You need to put him somewhere where whatever he's trying to stop is in front of him. Let him utilize his athleticism to go and get plays, not have to dissect what's happening on a play, if that makes sense. You know, but you know, we got options. We definitely have options.
Yeah, I mean, even that what's his Rogers, the guy that got suspended for the gambling.
Isaiah, he's gonna be big when he comes back. Yeah.
That's special teamer and ranked pretty high last year. Pretty high last year. I mean, that's another option they have.
I totally forgot about him. Yeah, that's a huge. Next year, you ain't got to worry about Maddox. I totally forgot about him. Isaiah Rogers is gonna be fine, and he's young. He's like what, 25?
Yeah, he's really young. I mean, even Zach McPherson, man, it was a shame with his injury and really want to see. And he had a really good camp, like a fantastic camp. And, 4th round pick from Texas Tech. I mean, didn't really have, you can't expect too much out of these guys. Their rookie years. They just got to work in the offseason and see if they can develop. And, it's nice to draft guys and they're on the field. Like the last 3 years of drafting have been fantastic. And, now we're down to, we have the pieces. Now we're back to the coaching problem, right? The coaching aspect of things now. I didn't like Sean Desai at first. I mean, other than the off the ball coverage, like I feel like the adjustments are made, with guys. I was really afraid of Nakobe Dean coming back. I was a little afraid of it because I didn't want him to ruin the mojo, but at the same time, I really need Nakobe Dean to start playing because you got 2 1-year deal veterans that are over him right now. And he can't sit another year. He's got to play. So I guess they just said Nakobe Dean's got to play. They put no money into that position. They don't. Are you into for this backfield? I mean, I know we're talking a lot. I know we have a lot more shit to worry about right now. Okay, so I get it, but this is going to come down the line. I mean, it's going to happen. The Eagles don't put there's. I mean, look at Miles Sanders in Carolina right now. I mean, 3.1 yards a carry, barely can stay healthy right now. It's he's not feeling the same. I know he was bitching a little bit on, they should have used me more in the Super Bowl, blah blah. Whatever. Do you think the Eagles got to re-sign DeAndre Swift?
No. I know that's probably going to be a very hot take. I know. I mean, he's producing very well. He's doing very good, but he's not. How do I put this? Because I have to make sure I phrase this correctly because he is very good. He's an amazing runner, amazing out of the backfield as a pass catcher, but that pass protection will keep him from a long-term deal. If he wants to do like a 2-year deal or something like that, then yes, but you can't keep him on the field. And, that's the unfortunate part. Like, I do want to see him get way more touches than Kenneth Gainwell. But, I want somebody to kind of give me like and I might do it my damn self, just like a compilation of DeAndre Swift as a pass blocker because it's not good. He's just not good in pass protection. So I don't think that they'll give him the contract that maybe another team would, kind of like with Miles Sanders. But yeah, I don't think they will. I think that again, like I said, if he wants to be here, we can figure something out. Miles wanted to be here, but he also wanted money. If he just says, listen, I don't give a damn, give me 2 years, $8 million and we cool. I could see something like that. But him getting a big contract, I can't see that.
Oh, at the rate he's going right now, I mean, I think what he had a little over 500 yards with Detroit last year. I mean, I don't know where he is at rushing. I don't know if he's still top 3 in rushing.
He's
I
close.
don't know.
He's about to double his production. Yeah, he's killing it. He's killing it. And it's hard to say that, but the NFL diminished and I'm sorry to cut you off, but they diminished the value of running back so much that now if you can't do all 3 things, if we have to take you off the field at certain times, we are not going to pay you because you can find it is a little disrespectful. I know people are going to be like, I know this is unpopular.
You cheap motherfucker.
I know it's unpopular. I know that it's going to be unpopular, but it's the truth. Like if we have to take you off the field at some point, it's going to be reflected in your contract. It's just how the NFL works, especially with this Eagles team. You have a great offensive line that damn near, I feel like if me or you, Joey, went in there after a 9-10 hour shift at work, we could probably average 2 or 3 yards. Like realistically, like this is a very, very good defense. A very, very good offensive line, excuse me. So if I'm them, you could have got 4 or 5 guys from this draft alone that I won't say that they'll do the exact same thing that Swift is doing because Swift is going crazy. Don't get me wrong, but they might have gave you a little bit more as a pass protector. And, it's unpopular, but I have to be honest. You know me, I don't like to sugarcoat it. I'm not one of those, you know what I'm saying? But
the thing is, like, as much as like Gainwell for a 5th round pick has been great. Okay. Like I get it. But the thing I'm kind of going with right now is like, I like, do they have him in there because he's just for certain plays or because his he could pick up blitzes and he's just better at that. But I just think of look, at the end of the day, we've had Josh Adams that's been success, that's ran good behind this line. We've had Wendell Smallwood that's run good behind this line. And are they starting for NFL teams right now?
Exactly. Corey Clement, shout out to Corey.
Corey Clement, the 1 year wonder. Okay, the 1 year wonder.
Crazy. Super Bowl. It felt like one game wonder. That boy went crazy in the Super Bowl.
What was it? 100 yards receiving? What was it?
Yeah. Well, I think he had like 10 catches, if I'm not mistaken. He went crazy in that game. He went crazy. His cousin actually sang the national anthem at the Eagles Cowboys game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the year after that.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, small world. And shout out to Yang Gang. I keep saying him. It's Joe Castro now, so shout out to Yang Gang. Appreciate you.
Thanks, man. And the difference I see is like because Swift can really he could take a lot of carries. Like Swift looks like he's not getting tired. Like, I mean, he didn't play the first game and we were wondering what the hell's going on. Like, why are they not using him at all? And then, 175 yards the second game. And he's almost like 20 carries, almost 20 carries. I mean, he could tote it 20 plus. I mean, not that I want them to, but they could if they wanted, so I get it. You have to rest him during the game. I get it. I feel like even in the Jets game, they ran with him. He got like 1 to 2 yards and then they just
like, F this,
too pass happy, and then they just stop. You know what I mean? Like, I think against the Jets defense, I think they were averaging against the run. I think it was like 145 yards. Like, I think they were giving up like 143, 145 yards, rushing. I mean, you could run on that team. They just gave up on it too much. They get way too pass happy, and there's just not, these and running with Jalen Hurts, like his legs have saved us. I mean, Jalen Hurts has put the team on his back on crucial third downs this year. And, I see what I see. Like, I get it. And I understand they get pass happy. They get a little crazy with it. And sometimes I like it. Sometimes I really don't like it. It just gets a little messy at times. But, getting Hurts into a rhythm and using these running backs to get pressure off Hurts is why you brought these guys in. I don't know what's going on with Rashad Penny. I don't get, I figured, we thought like near the end of camp, we were like, besides the last preseason game where, Trey Sermon kind of fell off because he fumbled the ball a couple times in 2 games. I forgot what it was, but I know he didn't really play that well. Rashad Penny's here for a reason. I mean, look, me and Philly talked about this the other night, and he actually mentioned this. I didn't even mention this. Like, he said, let's go after Derrick Henry. Let's pry at that.
That would be crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, the guy is getting, he's getting older. It's Tennessee's a mess. They got no offensive line. They barely have they don't even know. Malik Willis is playing horrible right now. They got 2 quarterbacks who just can't play right now. And they've built their offense around a running back, which I don't know what teams do that anymore. I mean, no teams do that. It's the wrong way to build a team. To trade for Derrick Henry for red zone, or just imagine Derrick Henry like with this offensive line and just get Derrick Henry getting to the second level untouched. I can't even.
Insane,
it's insane. Like, it's a crazy thing to think about because there was some false. I don't know if it was real last year. Some of or what was it? I forgot it was early this year.
The dude that did the American Ninja Warrior, right?
Yeah.
He said we were going to trade for him. Yeah, that was crazy.
But there's so much on the table. Like, there's guys that are available at safety right now, and we'll see what happens. I think the biggest problem is going to be at right tackle. I mean, I'm hearing good things that that Lane is going to be okay, but I hope that he plays on an ankle. He's only going to last maybe 5-6 weeks until his ankle can't deal with it anymore, and we're going to lose him for the rest of the year when we need him for the playoffs, if that's going to be the case. You're frozen, by the way. I don't know why. Hello? All right. He's frozen. He's got to come back in. We got 333 in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to Joe Castro, guys. Make sure you like up the stream like crazy. Like it up. Subscribe if you guys have it. Appreciate everybody. It's 11:40 at night. People love everybody that's joining tonight. Let me see if he comes back. All right.
Sorry about that. I told you my computer been acting. I don't know. It's my damn dog, man. That's what it comes down to. My damn dog.
No, you're good. Uh-oh. Might be the... You good?
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
All right, my fault. Yeah, my computer. My dog ate my homework. That's really what it comes down to, right? Like my dog ate the freaking cord to charge my computer. And he's just laying here acting like everything's cool. Look at it, just
Cute.
acting like everything cool. But nah, yeah, man, I'm sorry about that. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. What do you think? What is it going to take on Sunday to beat the Dolphins?
It's gonna take us being us again. Honestly, we were talking about the run game. We were talking about, and one thing that scared me, I think BrianJohnson said it, that he was like, he felt like some of those passes were the extension of the run game. No, I need my run game to be the extension of our run game. So I need them to go back to just trying to ram this ball. Yeah, pause. Down these guys' throat, bro. Like that's what you got to do. I say it every week, and I mean it every week. Like run the ball until they can actually stop you. Not like, oh, they stopped us once. No, until they make you punt the ball because you literally cannot get any yards on the ground. Run that ball. That is who you are. That is what we've spent years putting money into this team to be. Do that. Do that. And it will make things so much easier for guys like BrianJohnson. It will make things easier for guys like Jalen Hurts. It'll make the offense feel so much more successful because when you get 3, 4, I'll even say 2. If you can get 2 yards on first down from just handing the ball off, that makes things a little bit easier. And again, obviously 2 yards isn't what you want, right? You want to get more than that, but even just that, being able to be a little bit close to on schedule or a little ahead of the schedule, when you throw an incomplete pass, you ain't getting nothing, right? You're getting nothing but your quarterback with his head down, the wide receiver upset he didn't get a ball. Like it doesn't do anything good for you. So start the game off running that ball, get the confidence of the offensive line going, get the confidence of your quarterback going, of that running back, group going, like get all of them going. Get your wide receiver being like, hey, all right, now get me the ball. Now the tight end's like, all right, now get me the ball. Let's go. Get these guys hungry again. It feels like we start our games and we're like, all Jets go. If we bad terms, I guess, for that, saying all Jets go. But all fire, we want to get 100 yards on the first play every game. And it's like, I'll say this, and maybe this is a hot take as well, but if we go out to the Dolphins game and try to play like the Dolphins, we are going to get our asses handed to us.
Yes.
We literally will. We are not the Dolphins. We are not the same team we were last year. Honestly, I think we got to understand and we got to accept that maybe that quick strike offense that we had last year isn't what we have this year. Maybe this is the year that you slow things down. You get those 10, 11 play drives. I mean, we've had some long drives this year, and that's not anything to be ashamed of. I don't think Jalen Hurts has to be ashamed that you got a pair of legs on you. I don't think that makes you any less of a quarterback. You got your money. You know what I'm saying? Nobody in Philly, I think, is doubting you. We know what you are. We are accepting what you are and accepting that elite running ability paired with your pretty darn good, above average, I'd say, passing ability makes you an elite quarterback. So be that guy. Run this offense the way that it is supposed to be run. And figure out who the hell is running this offense. That's it. Figure out if it's Nick Sirianni or BrianJohnson. Other than that, I feel like we got all the players in place. Even if we don't make another trade, we got all the players in place to go out there and win a lot of football games. So they just need to get out of their own way, in my opinion.
No, I don't think they're done. I think they're just looking for a good price right now on somebody. And if it's going to be Jeremy Chin, I'm perfectly fine with that. Perfectly fine with it. Whether it's a rental or it's a long-term piece, that's really up to them. I think this is going to be the best front that the Miami Dolphins are facing this week. And I feel like the Dolphins are good in the trenches. I think we're better. Okay, I think we're definitely a lot better. This is probably the best defensive line they're facing. And Desai talked about getting physical this week. So I'm expecting they're going to use these linebackers. They're going to get after it. They're going to run some stunts, and he's going to be creative. And we're going to find out what the Eagles are made of. Like this, you got Miami, you got 2 divisional games coming up. You don't got an easy road right now. It's a tough few weeks. You got to buy in a little bit, you know what I mean, to get guys, back and healthy. Slay coming back this week. Josiah Scott was signed. So, I mean, Bradley Roby's hurt now, the shoulder, which is hard. I feel like I just at MetLife, even the Jet players were talking about that field, that it's horrible. I mean, it's bad. I think I'm only gonna play there one more time this year, but so many injuries, man. It's just like when we're getting guys back, the list just keeps, growing. Even when guys are coming back, it's still growing. So I'm hoping that Sidney Brown can come back this week, and because Terrell Edmonds, I really don't want him to play at all. I mean, it's just been the back end has got to get ready, because if you're going to play off the ball, it is the perfect week for it.
Play all the way off, just sit in the end zone. It feels like that. I will say the defense. I see some people saying like get hands on Tua and stuff. Our defense ain't gonna win us this game. I mean, they might. Don't get me wrong. It would be beautiful if they go out there and shut down Tua and that offense. That would be amazing. But if I'm a bettor, I'm going in here saying, if Jalen Hurts and this offense can't sustain long drives, it's gonna be a long night for this defense. A long night, because we do not have any cornerbacks that can keep up with Hill or Waddle. I mean, we just don't. And if they put out Claypool, we've seen Claypool before. I know he's not the same guy that he was when he was with Pittsburgh, but he's still a 6'4". He's still pretty fast. So if he acts like he wants to play football again, he might be a headache to deal with as well. So we got to hope that Jalen Hurts and this offense can just sustain long drives. Long, and I'm not even just saying a lot of plays. I'm saying long as in 8-9 minute drives every time they go out there. Make this a low scoring, knock them out, drag them type of game, or else this defense is going to be, I hope that they can keep up with them, but I just don't see it. I just don't.
Yeah, we're wearing Kelly Greens this week, and I tweeted out too. I was like, I retweeted the Eagles put up, Kelly Green week. I'm like, I don't care about Kelly Green week. We got to win this game. We got to win this game, because if we lose this game, they're going to blame it that this loss on one of the Kelly Greens. It's going to be cursed. That's what Eagles fans are going to turn this into this week. So I think there'll be more motivation this week from the players, and obviously wearing the Kelly Greens. It might sound corny, but you're representing a lot of alumni Eagles that have worn that that uniform, and I think they're gonna play with a little bit more heart. And now it's not time to screw around anymore. You got the 5-0, you got your asses. Not even it's not like you got 40 points scored on you, because I think the Eagles are just. I don't think the Eagles can get, hopefully this isn't the game where that happens. That offensively, they just got to be really smart. I totally agree with running the football. They can't just give up, if they run with Swift once for 1 yard, they can't just go away from it and be like, oh, well, I guess we can't run on them. Like you have to give it more of a chance. Got to give it more of a chance. You have a stud backfield, and if Lane Johnson plays, it will help, because Jack Driscoll Jesus, man, it was
it's been bad.
I guess Tyler Steen's not ready. I don't know. I guess it's either he didn't play right tackle in camp, because I know he coming out of college he's a left tackle. I know they played him at right guard. Cam Jurgens isn't even back yet. You're still waiting on Cam Jurgens, which hopefully in a couple weeks he's back, or next week. I don't know. We'll see what happens with him, but offensive line's got to get ready too. So it's a week-to-week league. Like you look at Miami and say they're dangerous, and they are, because they can create big plays. The big plays are what's and the Eagles are gonna they've already been playing off ball, and they're not trying to give up a big play here. So keep everything inside, but the offense has got to rock come Sunday. So that's what I'm expecting.
And the offense needs to have long, sustained drives, and the defense needs to challenge the Dolphins, to have long, sustained drives. Like, don't give up anything over the top, as easy as that sounds, but don't give anything over the top. Make Tua throw the ball 10 times on a drive, or 8 to 10 times on a drive, and really drive the ball down the field. Because if you let Hill run wild, you let Waddle run wild, it's going to be a long day for that defense. But I think we got it.
I mean, the pass rush. I mean, you got Jalen Carter back this week. So, I mean, your pass rush is going to be there. I mean, I'm hoping he just is a disruptive mess all day. I mean, that's what I'm hoping. Jalen Carter, I mean, it's crazy because even when he didn't play last week, I mean, dude, you still got pressure. I think now with Reddick really getting his stride, because Reddick is really streaky. He's really streaky. He'll have a month where he doesn't get any sacks, and then like the next month he'll have 5-6 sacks. That's just who he is, and he's the player with the highest sacks on this team right now. So I feel like the defensive lines are strong point and get after Tua and just pressure him. And because even that when they faced the Giants, it was I thought the Giants ran the ball on them pretty good. And Tua threw a couple bad passes that led to some turnovers as well. So I feel like the Eagles have a chance here. If they can give us hope and come out of this game with a win, I'll feel a lot better going to the rest of the season. I mean, this is a good test right here, and coming off a really bad game, and you're playing at the Link in front of the crowd. Like if they play, they played the Jets that way. It's going to be a long day for them. It's going to be a long day. So that's what I'm hoping it happens. But
we're gonna win now. I feel it.
Yeah, me too. So we got 324 in the chat right now. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to Philly the podcast. Joe Castro, his link in the description. I've been putting his link in the live chat as well. Just hit over 6K. Definitely check out his content on the Eagles and all that. What do you have cooking for you channel wise?
Well, we've been doing the morning shows. We've been doing the Morning Joe. I think that's a pretty clever name. But yeah, I like it. You know what I'm saying? But we've been doing the morning shows. I'm about to start bringing back. This is my first collaboration I've done in a long time, so I'm glad to be doing it with my brother. But we're gonna start doing the collaborations back on the channel, getting some interviews. Probably have guys like Fran back on, and Spadero and stuff like that. But yeah, just going back to the collaborations. That's really. And I'm starting to gear up back on the draft stuff. So you'll probably start hearing me talk about the draft. I know probably are like people are probably like already, bro. But no, it's just an exciting year for the young players. So probably next couple of weeks you'll probably start hearing me talk about what's going on in college football, but also just bringing on some guys that y'all know, and hopefully getting some of these players on. I've been reaching back out to some people, so. We'll see what happens, but trying to get some good interviews for everybody. Go back to what I did in the beginning. I feel like I lost my way a little bit, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to go back to what I was doing with the interviews and everything. But
yeah, no, I mean, dude, like whatever works, man. Like I like those interviews with Frank and Fran and some of the guys that come on there and give some good insight on the team and stuff. So it's a great thing. It's a great connection to have, and it's awesome. But yeah, I mean, other than that, that's pretty much it. I mean, we're just, I'm just praying this team, shows up. I mean, we're going to find out what they're made of this week. I mean, this is a test this week, because we know the Eagles are playing better than this. We know Jalen Hurts is never going to have a game like that. That's just, everything just didn't work. I mean, Jake Elliott missed a kick. I mean, everything it poured. Devontae Smith dropping wide open passes. I mean, Jesus. I mean, it was just nuts, dude.
And we still barely lost. That's the crazy part. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm kind of sitting here like, it sucks. Don't get me wrong. There's no excuse. There's no, it was an ugly ass loss, and I don't want to see that happen again. But all that happened, and you still barely lost. Like that's that's the silver lining, in my opinion. At least I'm trying to look at it as some type of silver lining.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, guys, we're gonna head out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like up the stream if you guys have it. Subscribe to Joe Castro of Philly the podcast in the link in the description below. And yeah, Joe, hopefully we can do this again another time.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir. ASAP.
Yeah, you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, guys.